Yeah, Kurt Vonnegut says, when confronted with the kind of, I can't remember the exact word he says, but when confronted with the incredible strangeness of reality, you can either laugh or cry, and he prefers to laugh because there's less cleaning up to do afterwards. So let's have a laugh.
He also says, we're here on Earth to fart around and don't let anybody tell you different.
Exactly.
Which I also absolutely love.
Well, there's a profound truth to that because, if we live in a universe of relativity, it's best to keep an even keel. With great highs come great lows. So fart around, say, great, we'll see, this too shall pass. And keeping that space of equanimity through life. This is a Buddhist idea,
It's also a Stoic idea as well.
Yeah. Oh, tell me about Stoicism.
Well, that is again Stoicism, a 2,000-year-old philosophy, and that was exactly there. It's like just maintaining that, like when things are going well, don't get pulled up into the crazy highs, because for everything that what goes up must come down is the conservation of energy. From my reading, their goal was to maintain that equanimity all the way through. There's another kind of little story I love, and I think it's a Taoist story, and it's of a Chinese farmer, and the Chinese farmer has a horse, and the horse runs away, and the people of the village say, "Oh, what bad fortune," and he says, "Maybe," and then a few days later, the horse comes back, and it brings a whole herd of horses, or what's the word for a group of horses? Doesn't matter. A stable of horses. Lots of horses come back.
Many horses.
Many horses come back. And the people of the village say, "Oh, what great fortune." And he says, "Maybe." And then a few days later, his son is trying to break in one of the new horses, the wild horses, and he gets bucked off and he breaks his leg. And the people of the village come and say, "Oh, what bad fortune." And the farmer says, "Maybe." And then a few days later, a war breaks out. And the army come round and they're conscripting young men. And they find the farmer's son with a broken leg, and they move on to the next house. And the people of the village say, "Oh, what great fortune." And the farmer says, "Maybe." And that is it. It's just
beautiful. Yeah.
You just, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. There's, it's loving detachment, I think, is that mindset, understanding that you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. They are a part of you, but you are the space into which they arise. And that allows a kind of that level of equanimity. But yeah, like we spoke about, it's very important to return to the conventional truth. That, we do exist insofar as we interact with each other, and that's a wonderful, joyous experience. That's why compassion is so important in Buddhism. That's the way to proceed, and, the universe may throw all sorts of curveballs at you. And
it will.
Yeah. And you say, we'll see, maybe. Living in that now, that eternal now, and kind of, reveling in it and finding the wonder.
To segue a little bit, how did you learn your craft? How did you learn to tell stories?
Great question. I think we naturally tell stories all of the time. I think as people, we have a unique understanding, at least it seems we do, of the experience of time. Emerson says, time is what eternity looks like when viewed by the mind. So I think the way which we grapple with this unique understanding of time as people is through storytelling, and I'm using that term in the broadest sense. You tell a story when you paint a picture, you tell a story when you write a piece of music. These are all paintings with time. And so I've always just been really interested in that process. I grew up in a religious family. So, from a young age, I was inundated with Bible stories. And it was, drilled into me that these stories held a psychological significance and weren't just, tales. There's something to be understood within them. So I've always had that interest. Practically, how I learnt my craft is just by doing and failing and doing again, and learning the lessons after the failures. And a big part of that journey for me was doing my creative writing course. I did the creative writing masters at Oxford, and just being surrounded by fellow writers who were helping each other learn and grow was really great for my development, and also developing a consistent practice of writing, reading how other writers speak about writing. I mentioned Italo Calvino earlier. His book on the craft, 6 Memos for the Next Millennium, I would recommend to all writers, particularly his essay on exactitude. But also if someone's just starting out, an incredibly useful and more easily digestible book on the craft would be On Writing by Stephen King. So another one, Ursula Le Guin, Steering the Craft. So yeah, continual process of dedicated work, failure, lesson learning, and healthy obsession. How do you find? Because you as a journalist, you must have grown and changed over the years.
Absolutely, and I love to write. I love to consume people's writing, and I do love to practice as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not read On Writing by Stephen King. And what was the Ursula?
Steering the Craft.
Steering the Craft. Not read that. I have a couple of books again by me. On Writing by William Zinsner. Again, great book. Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott as well. Fantastic. But as you're saying, as I've found with almost all disciplines, is learn by doing to be the most kind of productive way. I think sometimes it's not to say it's not hugely beneficial to read books about something. It can make learning so much more efficient. You can get to the key principles, the key fundamentals. You'll start to see people, so like these books about writing, people repeat the same kind of lesson, subject, object, verb, and all these kind of, maybe again, truths, these little fundamentals. So I think it's really, really important to understand them. But then at the same time, there's nothing that will beat just consistently turning up and practicing.
Yeah, and I think we should cultivate a culture in which we allow that experimentation, and we allow each other to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and grow.